Super excited to share this topic because I have a feeling not everyone is like fully looking into all the things that AI and ChatGPT and things like that can do. A lot of us maybe are still using it kind of as like an enhanced Google search or to write us captions and things like that, but it is so much more capable, and it is growing. I think they said it's like, I forget the stat, but like every 3 months, it's more than doubling its capacity of what it's capable of doing. And by I mean all the different AI out there. We're going to focus today on ChatGPT a little bit because that's what I'm personally using right now. But it is just so capable. So what I wanted to do is kind of show you like how I'm using it specifically as my personal strategist. His name is Atlas. I'll explain to you that in a minute, but he helps me amplify, simplify, and elevate nearly every single aspect of my life. These are real life hacks that I use weekly to create the farm that I live in now and what I'm doing with that, the freedom that I'm working towards, and the future that I dream of. So I really put a lot of things into ChatGPT, and in doing that, it's really created um, a super helpful, useful tool for me. And again, not just to do Google searches, write emails and captions for my real estate. So that's why I wanted to tell you a little bit about how you might be able to use it at a much larger level. Um, so AI isn't hype. It's built for systems is how I use it for my real estate coaching, the farm, like I said, that I'm building out, how I get clarity, help myself avoid distractions, which I'm truly prone to. I use it not just to search for things, but to help me think, to help me get clarity. AI is already transforming how we live and work. With the right use, it can give you your time back, like massive amounts of time. It can help you fuel your big vision. Um, you don't need to be techie. It's like having a brilliant partner. It's like having an 18-year-old kid or a 16-year-old kid kind of in your pocket helping so that they can be the techie one, not you. It can help solopreneurs scale without needing a team, and it can help you with decision making and help you determine for you yourself what's the next right thing next. Because in this world that we're in, there's so many things coming at us. We have so many opportunities. We have so many ways we can spend our time and our mental bandwidth and everything. It can help you streamline that to be aligned with your goals. Karen, let's see, somebody is on. Oh, I'm just gonna mute over there. Okay. So I'm gonna give you, like I said, some real life examples of how me, a 50-something-year-old woman, uses my AI strategist Atlas. And the funny thing is, Atlas actually named himself. I asked him, I was like, hey, ChatGPT, what should I name you? And he named himself Atlas, which is kind of perfect because I love to travel. If any of you guys know, I love to travel. And he thought that that was a really good thing. And I don't use it just like a chatbot. It helps me remember my goals. It helps me create my vision. It helps me streamline my goals. And like I said, pick the best right next thing next. I've trained it with months of nuance, not years of nuance. It hasn't taken me that long. And by nuance, I mean to really understand me. It's not just taking generic information out there and putting it in. It's taking what I've told it about me and putting it into life. So it's kind of like a COO, a copywriter, a mindset coach, a health and fitness coach, all these different things. Um, and it's working really great for me. It's working really great. Um, So Atlas named himself, and he named himself because of a global vision and grounded support, which I love that. I actually asked, why did you name yourself Atlas? And I love that. That shows how much it really like gets me and gets what my goals are. He's also customized to know my goals, my life, my audience, and my tone. So now when I use him, it doesn't sound like somebody else. It's not creating goals and life visions and things for somebody else or some kind of generic thing. It's crafting it just for me. Um, and then he helps me strategize, plan, and execute. And in fact, this whole presentation this is what I did to put this presentation together. I said to Atlas, I said, create a 30-minute slide deck with the title Simple AI and ChatGPT Hacks to Create Your Dream Life with speaker notes. And then I said, create this based on real life stories, how I've used you, Atlas. So this whole deck within like 30 seconds. It didn't create the visuals, so I had to put them in the visuals, but he created the whole deck, including the speaker notes and everything like that. For me, that's mind-blowing as a coach and as a trainer who has had to create their own decks from scratch for 15 years, which takes a lot of time, a lot of mental bandwidth. The fact that I can now say with 2 sentences what I want and it pops out the whole outline of the deck is absolutely amazing. And that's just one example, again, of how I use it in my own personal life. You can start to think about how can you use this in your own life. And I really, I feel like I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg, like he is right here, like just the tip of the iceberg of what's available. So every decision I make now ties back to these 5 priorities, and Atlas is a part of them, or actually 6 priorities. It helps with my real estate and coaching business growth. It helps with my farm life vision and product development. I actually asked it to help me create an old Florida scent for candles for client gifts. And I explained a little bit what Old Florida was like. I explained kind of what that would smell like. And Atlas came up with a completely, if you know anything about scents, there's like the top notes, the middle notes, and I forget what it's called, the bottom notes. It nailed it. It nailed the whole thing. And then it gave me 3 different candle making companies that actually can make those candles, or how I can DIY those candles myself. So that's what I say when I mean product development or something like that. It helps me work on my financial freedom plans. It helps me create content creation for social media. It helps on my health, meals, and mindset routines. And I'm going to talk a lot about that in a minute. And then it helps me, really important for me, decision making and staying on track. So, for example, a few months ago, if any of you follow me on Facebook, I had a problem. Like I said, I have this little hobby farm now, and about 2 months ago, I had a problem where my neighbor next door stole my entire side fence. We're talking 900 feet of fence. It's not a small thing that they stole. It was actually a multi-month thing, and I was really struggling with how to handle this. I called my best friend. She wasn't available. I was really stewing over this, and I just started to talk to ChatGPT. I explained the background, I explained the nuances of it, and ChatGPT talked back to me, not just again as like a Google query, but more as a coach or an advisor, and really helped me get some perspective. They asked me questions, or Atlas asked me questions, and really helped me reframe something that I probably, the normal me, would have shot myself in the foot had I handled things the way I wanted to handle them, which was basically to tell my neighbor to pound sand, um, formally. But ChatGPT walked me through the whole thing, and that was the first time I realized, like, wow, there's so much more potential to this than just even just efficiency, just like I said, writing captions or things like that. There's so much more potential for helping us get clarity, helping us make decisions. And I would encourage you guys to start looking into this too, because just like, I don't know how old all of you are, but I'm old enough to remember when, we still had fax machines. We didn't have email. We had word processors, not, before even we had typewriters and word processors and computers. And every step of the way, there was always this moment where we thought, oh, this is just a fad. This isn't really going to work. And now look, like even email has become a little bit outdated in some ways. I think ChatGPT is really going to affect our lives, or AI in general, not just ChatGPT. AI in general is going to, oh yeah, a phone attached to the wall. Absolutely. A rotary phone. Um, ChatGPT at the speed that it is changing is going to have the highest level of impact on our lives that we can't even comprehend right now. So AI in general. So I'm encouraging you to really look at the different ways that you can start, if you're not already, dipping your toe into it in a deeper way than just, again, writing captions and things like that. And some of you might be doing a whole lot more. But it really, really, really helped me when I was back at this fence dilemma and how am I going to handle that. It really kind of pulled me back in, made me look at things and change how I was going to respond and see things in a bigger way, because now I didn't have the lens of my best friend giving me a response or giving me input that might have been giving me input based on her own lens and based on what she knows of me. It was giving me really, I ask it to give me neutral advice based on what it knows of me, right? If that makes sense. And then recently also, I found that I was obsessing over potentially renting one of my properties as a short-term rental rather than a long-term rental. And I really was like digging into that and asking information. And then it actually said, it reminded me that that really didn't align with my goal of peace and time freedom. And it said, like, my top three priorities are financial freedom, a paid off property, and a peaceful life. And it nudged me and pivoted me away from like the short term thing that I was letting myself go down that rabbit hole and get back to, sorry, my cat's wanting to do all kinds of things, help me get back to like my more aligned, sustainable action of what I really want for my life. I definitely am a person who, I don't want to say suffers from or struggles with ADHD, because I feel like ADHD is really a blessing in a lot of ways for people. It allows us to be multi-passionate about a lot of things. It allows us to really focus on things, but it can be, if you have an ADHD type mind, it can have you all over the place. So one way I use ChatGPT is it pulls me back in, and it doesn't say you can't do this thing now, but it might say you can't do this thing right now. Like we have other things higher priority that we need to work on. So these are just a few things. Recently, I don't know if you guys attended the training I did on real estate investing and creative financing. And I asked Atlas to compare a 20-year return on stocks versus leveraged real estate. And then I gave it some kind of prompts or frameworks on the real estate saying, hey, you know, base it on average appreciation, base it on average rents. Remember to include capital improvements like new roofs and things like that. Remember to put property management in there. I told it all that, and within, you know, less than a minute, it was able to come up with complete comparisons between stock market over 20 years and investing in real estate over years. It took, if you reinvested the gains from the stock market back into the stock market, if you reinvested the gains from your real estate back into real estate, and within minutes, it had the whole comparison. It had the pros and cons of both sides. It had charts, it had graphs, everything like that. So there's just so much you can do with it. And it gave me a super accurate and elegant comparison between the two so that I could show you guys when I did that slide deck. I think that was just 2 weeks ago. And I kind of use it like my financial co-pilot when I need to make a decision. Hold on, what's the question? I see something in the chat. Oh, Dawn, I know you need to leave. You just have to go to the network Facebook group, and that's where they always drop these recordings about a day later, the network Facebook group. Um, Hold on. Okay. So it also recently helped me. I was creating meal planning as an ovo pescatarian. And for somebody who's meal planned a lot in my life, that takes a ton of effort. It takes looking up recipes that you like, looking up recipes that you like the ingredients for. It takes looking up what are the macros, if you're into that. What is the, you know, the grams of fat, protein, and carbs, things like that. Before, that would take me a ton of time. It would take almost a whole Sunday. Every time I needed to do that, I'd create the recipes, or I'd find the recipes, and then I'd have to do all the research, and then I'd have to make the shopping list, and then I would have to figure out, okay, if I eat, 1/8 of this whole recipe, what are the grams of fat, protein, and things like that? A lot of work. So recently, instead, with ChatGPT, all I did was grab the transcripts out of a YouTube health and nutrition coach that I follow. And on YouTube, if you go to the description of the video, at the bottom of the description is always a little button that says transcript. If you hit transcript, it'll pull up the whole transcript. So I just copied and pasted probably 4 or 5 videos from this particular YouTube coach and trainer. And then I dropped it into ChatGPT. I told Atlas which foods I don't like and that I don't want it to be based on eating meat. I want it to be based on eating fish or eggs, but no actual meat. It popped out complete meal plan, complete shopping list, instructions, macros, everything like that. Within, I mean, all of this maybe took 5 minutes, which would have taken me hours and hours and hours and hours. So again, just a little example of in one section of my life, how I was able to apply it. In real estate, it helps me convert high converting emails, like I said. You might already be using this for your emails or your real estate captions, but I recently asked it for my luxury expired course. I asked it to generate some luxury listing hooks, write the campaign sequences, and the network follows up. And it gave me 10 non-cheesy subject lines to engage. I've also asked it to, I gave it my favorite emojis that are kind of like non-generic emojis, emojis that are a little bit more like me. And so now it also sprinkles it through. So there's just like so much you can do. But I want to get into really, again, how I use this in my personal life, because this is where I think it can be so, so, so powerful. Hold on one sec. Let me move that up there. It's like having the wisest part of me reflected back to me, or like my future self, my future best, highest self talking to me from, 10 years in the future. With journals, it helps me reframe things. Like I said, it helped me reframe even how to handle that neighbor. Recently on a tough day, I asked it to reframe it around money, stress, and feeling stuck. And I'm going to read to you here in a minute what it actually said to me. And I said, act like my mindset coach and give me 5 journal prompts and a mantra to shift that. For those of you really, really interested in higher level stuff like this, I can drop in the chat. If you're interested, let me know. I can drop in the chat a really great personal growth AI coach that can give you some amazing prompts. And so Atlas said, the real reason you feel stuck or unfulfilled, it says you're not actually stuck. This is what Atlas said to me. You're in a threshold state, the uncomfortable middle ground between mastery of your past self and the embodiment of your future self. Right there, that was so refreshing, because it's like, yeah, you're right. I'm shifting from being very successful in this one way to growing this other thing. And I have like one foot in the old and one foot in the new, and it's feeling like not so great on top of everything else in the world that's going on. So Atlas helped me bring clarity, and I'm just going to read this to you for a minute, because I want to show you how it can really help you bring clarity to you personally. It says you're outgrowing the strategies that once made you successful. What worked when you were proving yourself, hustling, chasing, listing, leading with logic, now feels hollow when your deeper desire of is freedom, impact, and peace. You keep upgrading the machinery when what you really need is a different operating system. You're still subconsciously seeking safety and structure, i.e. financial success, systems, and achievements, while craving soul level safety and stillness, feminine flow, and trust. That spiritual split is what keeps you hustling when you want to rest, overanalyzing when you should be receiving, and filling up your calendar when you're craving space. So that's just so, again, my higher self, my future self, the person who knows me the best could have written that. And that just came from Atlas. That just came from Atlas telling me. And then it told me a whole bunch more. I just took one snippet. I mean, this is probably 1/10 of what it said, but it was so on point, because it's saying you're used to really chasing and hustling and working hard. And then at the other side, you really want peace and comfort and quiet and ease. And these keep bumping up against each other. and it gave me some direction how to get what I was looking for that I got over here, but still achieve those goals that I want over here. Like I said, this is just about a tenth of what it told me. So if this is exciting to you, if this is of interest to you, how to start, my best advice would be to just pick like one area. That can be money, content, health, business, because you don't want to, if you're not already using AI at a higher level or a mid-level, you don't want to overwhelm yourself so much that you'll just kind of shut down. And then use it once daily and prompt it for 7 days with something around that topic. Don't try to be perfect. Try to be curious. This works because I didn't try to master AI. I just tried to let it support me where I needed it the most. And then it grew from there. I often asked it, like, what am I missing? What am I not asking you? And it would then say, hey, have you thought of this? Or have you tried this? Or you need to look at it this way. And it wouldn't tell me you have to do something this way, but it would say you need to look at it this way, which is like so, like I said, it's like your higher version of your future self talking back to you and coaching back to you. Oops, hold on one sec. So I would suggest to you maybe to try this prompt tonight and say, ChatGPT, first of all, you can get ChatGPT for free, or you can pay $20 a month for like an upgraded version of ChatGPT, which if you're using it for your real estate business, I highly suggest that you do get the upgraded version. There's other AI platforms. Claude is one, Gemini is one. Pick one. You don't have to try to do all of them. Just pick one and try to really, really master that before you. Well, I don't think any of us are ever going to be able to master it, but to get it really doing something for you and giving you positive results, pick one and kind of stick with that for a while, because also it's learning from you, right? So ChatGPT was able to give me that answer because it was learning from me, from months and months of putting content in it, of talking to it, of sharing questions I have, of sharing input I have. And then on my real estate side and on my coaching side, I also upload the transcripts of all my past trainings, so that it is taking everything that I've said and it is helping really create on my real estate and coaching side a complete like Wikipedia of the things I've said in the past, so that when something comes up, it right away pulls up and hey, but remember this or something like that. And that's how I'm able to create slide decks so easily now. So my prompt for you to try tonight would be act as my act as my strategic dream life coach, ask me 5 questions, then build a 30-day plan based on my answers. Just something simple like that. That's how you can get started, something simple like that. It is surprisingly healing and refreshing. It helps you, like I said, stay on track. It helps you cut through the noise. It helps you make decisions. It helps you bring you back into alignment of what's important to you. So I just wanted to say you already have what you need. AI is not the goal. Your dream life is your goal. Your story is being written. Just let AI help you by giving you clarity. I think one of the most important things with this is giving you clarity. Use it as a tool to clear the path, not complicate it, and start where you are. Ask it your first question and let clarity unfold from there. If I can do it with my little farm that I'm trying to handle, with ADHD as a 50-something-year-old woman who grew up with rotary phones, to your point, Joe, and 3 TV channels. When Karen, my sister, and I, and I guess Joe, when we grew up, we had rotary phones on the wall. On the wall. You couldn't go anywhere that the phone cord couldn't reach. We had 3 channels and we had to change the channel, by getting up and turning the channel. So I point that out because a lot of people think AI is overwhelming and stuff like that. It's just like, no, take it in little bit of chunks, a little bit at a time. Atlas isn't magic, but the life it's helping me build, it is. Because like I said, more than anything, it brings me back to like clarity and decision making, and sees which things are aligned with what I really, really want and which things are potentially a distraction, because I can definitely be prone to distractions, and I'm trying to, make the most of that. Um, and you were the remote. Yeah, you're right. We were the remote for the TV too. Um, So I want to thank you for listening to this. We've got about 15 minutes. We can answer some questions. And if you want, I can show you some stuff in my chat GPT too, and how I've kind of broken it up. And again, I'm like just at the tip of the iceberg of what's available, but I do feel like maybe I'm a little further ahead of some people and figuring some stuff out to help me specifically, like I said, more about life than just real estate, because I think most of us are already tipping our toe in how we can use this in real estate. But I'm wanting to encourage you guys to think bigger, to think, how can I really use this tool to help me create my dream life? So I'm going to stop sharing and then open it up for questions. And then, like I said, I can share my chat GPT if you guys would like as well. So how are you, Joe?
I'm good. And I use Claude, the premium version, but I grabbed a
Yeah,
couple things while you're talking. This is my personal hub. So personal information, what health and wellness, life management, and just using that. I'm selling my house and a bunch of the stuff inside it. So it helped me create a plan on step to step on what to do. Things already posted for sale, things needing to be posted, decisions to be made. Um, but I was also taught that if you take it in the project section on ChatGPT, Claude, or whatever you use, you can put your entire listing presentation up there and it will give you feedback on it. I use Whisper Flow so I can talk to my computer instead of typing.
yeah.
And by doing that, you can just make a little journal in there and the system will learn you as you go, which is always helpful.
Yeah, I started using Whisper Flow too. I think you're the ones who told us about the White Meisman training, which I've been doing, and having Whisper Flow has been a really a game changer
Oh,
for
yeah.
me, because I can just tell it things and not have to type, and I love it.
And the
The
best thing is, if
Janie,
you stutter and hesitate, it fills it in for you.
Oh, I didn't even catch that part. Maybe I never, maybe I don't hesitate. I just keep talking. Like, go ahead, Lori.
hi, Janie. So sorry earlier. I for some reason my phone was on mute, and when you said hello, I was talking to you and you weren't
Oh,
hearing me. Anyway, I can't emphasize enough what a help it is, and I think you made a very good point because all of us, even you, which is good to hear, need our minds settled and quieted sometimes. And sometimes we don't have people to turn to. And a few months ago, I turned to my son. He's living in Chicago, and he just said, "Mom, you don't need me. You need chat." And I said, "What is that?" So he told me, and it has changed my life
yeah,
because it does quiet your mind over things that are bothering you. We have so much put into our business, and
yep.
it's constant. Real estate's constant. It doesn't stop, and we have other things going on, and it does you can put anything in there. I had a test come back from the doctor. They prescribed me medicine. A very good friend of mine is a trainer and competes in bodybuilding competitions. She said no, that your doctor is wrong. This is why I don't go to doctors. And she was going on. So I asked Chat. And I said, "Is it as severe as the doctor said?" And Chat said, "Yes." This is a
Oh,
very extreme, like you need to take this medicine. And boom, done. And I wasn't questioning my doctor anymore. So things like that quiet your mind so you can focus on what you need to do, which is our real estate. And it's helped me a lot in real estate as well. I've had questions. You can ask it anything, and it does direct
and
it very personally to each person. It's not like asking Google,
no,
not
it's
at
not like
all.
that at all.
No, not at all.
I'm glad
So
that you sought out Chat GPT when your friend was telling you that you didn't need to take that medicine, because, you know, you're right. We get so much information and we start to second
yeah,
guess. And
yeah,
I always ask Chat to be neutral, meaning not to, I mean, I want it to be personalized to me, but I don't want it given, because the problem with Google sometimes is it will start to learn your leanings, whether that's
Right.
political or anything else, and it'll start to feed you stuff to back up you've already told Google, or especially social media, what you believe. And I don't want that. I want neutral information so I can make a decision. So I'm glad that you
Right.
did that. I did the same thing with my dog. I've had a really, really hard time with my dog lately. And to the point he's an 11-year-old Rottweiler. Rottweilers only live 8 or 10 years. But he's
Hmm.
until 2 or 3 months ago super healthy. He did develop something, and I ended up going to 3 different vets. All of them were giving me their like little micro versions of in their world, but no big kind of holistic view.
Right.
And I started to take their different reports and load it up into ChatGPT, even about the medicines and that, like you're talking about. And it gave me
Hmm.
really clear direction. And one night when I was freaking out at like 2 a.m. about something, talk about, quieting your mind. I gave it everything, and it gave me stuff that quieted my mind and let me get through the night without thinking, my dog was having a heart attack or something. So it's just
Right.
so powerful. It's so
It's
powerful.
funny that that's how my son started, was because of his dog. He said
Mm-hmm.
the dogs are, he has a golden retriever, and he said there's always something. And then the vet's like $1,000. It's 1,000,
Yep.
here's 1,000. And I don't know what to do, what's best for him, what it could be. And he said that's when he started. But just like with me, I had the portal to the hospital. They had all the test results on there. Thankfully, we have that access to that now. You don't need the doctor to tell you all those things. And I just fed that into chat and said, "Here's
Yep.
the exact diagnosis." And it's like having a best friend that knows everything. It just knows every. And there have been times that I put information like from, I like say I wrote something for the MLS, and I'm like, Could you tweak this, or how can I make this sound better?" And Chat will do it, and I'll go, "You know what? I like mine better." So, and I'll use mine, and because that can happen, or it doesn't elaborate enough to make you want to change it. So there are things that it's just a backup of knowing, that you're doing a good job when you are,
Yeah. And
but the
like if something doesn't come out, you can say, no, make this more this or that, or,
right.
for life planning, you can ask it, hey, look at it from this angle, or look at it like it's not, like you said, it's not just Google. It's
No.
really like its own thinking brain. Um,
Yes. And
you
it'll
know,
tell you, it'll say, "You know what? You're doing a great job." It'll talk to me. And I'm
yeah,
like, "Gee, thanks." Because I put in all the, I'm only on one medication, but I put in all the supplements that I'm taking. And this has to be on an empty stomach. This has to be here. And I'm saying, this is what I'm eating. Then I'm taking this. And Chad will go, "Wow, you are doing a great job. This is exactly right." And then my mind is clear, and I can go on to other things that are important for my business. And it's helped a lot. I can't emphasize enough. And I'm going to be 70 in August. So for
I
me to be able
look like you look my age, and I'm in my 50s for real.
Chat tells me I look my age, your age too. So that's why I
Yeah.
love Chat GPT. No, but I'm just saying I'm old, and we've been through a lot, and there's a lot expected of us now in business. We have to learn everything so quickly. Everything changes so quickly. And so when I told my son, I says, "Best thing you ever told me to do." And I do not pay for the upgrade. I still have the free one. So
Mm.
you can try it out free, see if you like it. If you get to the point where you need to upgrade or feel, then you can, but you can try it out. And it's given me a lot of information for free. So well
Yeah.
worth it. Well worth learning.
I I dropped in the chat this thing. It's your future AI coach, where it helps you actually craft your future version of yourself.
Mm.
I didn't use it before. ChatGPT came up with everything based on stuff I had already told it. But if any of you are wanting to take this to another level, it's like $10, this future AI coach that this guy has. So I've done some stuff of his for free. That's very good content.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the chat. Um, oh, and so Joe
If you want to
said,
see what you can do, that link
um,
right there is something I created through Claude, different thing of ChatGPT, but it's an investor site that I basically made a property for a subject to.
oh,
Um,
wow.
I fed all the information into it. And it's like, hey, condition, renovations previously done, everything's there. The only thing I don't have on this version of it is a link directly into my drive, which would take you to all the photos on the inside.
Well, that's amazing, Joe. I mean, there's just so much like I said, if you think about how our lives changed with phones, if you think about how our lives changed first with cable TV and then with streaming or with email or all the different things, which
Right.
improved over longer periods of years. And now you look at AI that's like massively improving every 2 or 3 months. Um, you can just think for those who lean in and really try to use it to streamline what they're doing so they can do other more meaningful things, things they enjoy, things with family, whatever it is, or get information. In this day and age, I kind of wish that people would use it when they go off on a tangent politically, because I always ask ChatGPT, tell me this without any leaning one way or the other, because so much of what we get, um, especially in social media, but with news too, is really politicized one way or the other. And I just want to know, like, the non-commentary version, like the real version, so that I can make up my own mind. Like I can understand on my own what something means. So I do try to train it. Just give me the real stuff, not and if you
Right.
do that for everything, it can really help keep your life and cut through all the stuff.
Right. It does give you a lot of balance. I think that's the most, and that's what I took most from your you talking today, is that even people as successful and wonderful as you are, that we all get overwhelmed
Oh,
with,
yeah.
and especially like me, you have a little ADHD, and but that's what makes us successful. So, but at the same time, we all have those moments of being overwhelmed and not knowing what to do and not knowing how to handle it. And the most important thing everybody can take away from this is that it will relieve the pressure that we all have. We all go through it. And there are times I can't talk to my kids or I can't talk to my friends about certain things. And you just need some input, and it gives you a lot. And then after it gives you the input, it'll say, do you need anything else? Do you need me to break this down for you? Do you need me to suggest anything else? It'll ask you, and you can put that in. And sometimes, a lot of times, I'm like, yes, break it down more. Treat me like I'm a 4-year-old.
Right, right. Well, this has
So
been
it
a great
does.
conversation.
Pardon?
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's okay. No, it's,
But
but if anyone takes anything away from this, it's just how helpful it can be to quiet your mind, give you peace of mind, and let you focus on other things and move away from something that you may be overthinking
right.
and driving you crazy.
And
So
it
it'll
brings you
help a
back to
lot.
what you really want, right? What
Yes,
you tell
absolutely.
it what you really want. And if you start to stray because something seems exciting, and we in real estate, where, I think we all have a little ADHD. That's what makes us capable of doing what we do. But when we start to stray and chase a squirrel, it can pull us back in.
Right. Exactly.
So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us today. And reminder, there's a couple other trainings today for our group specifically. You can find that in Stacy's email called The Goods. And tomorrow, the training in Game Changers is by Lars, about how to add 2 or 3 closings a month. So I think all of us would like to do that. So, all right, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Hey,
Bye.
Janie.
Bye.
do you know if the
Huh?
collaborative call is recorded?
I'm not sure if they are. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
sure.
can, Tuesdays don't work for me at all, so I never can make it, but I was just curious if they
I
were
think
recorded.
so, because I did the one on branding last week and it was dropped in a day or two later, a video link.
The Facebook group?
Yeah, in the Facebook group.
Okay, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Bye.
Have a great day. Bye.
Thank
too.
you. Bye.
Bye, Lori.
Bye.